Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. As promised, I am going to fill you in on where I've been for the last 5 months since I just cold turkey stopped posting out of nowhere. Everything is fine, everything has been great, life has been full and busy, but I just kind of wanted to catch you up on where I have been and what all's been going on. So back in mid-April, we had a family member ask if she could stay with us for a little while if her house sold quickly. She was putting her house on the market out of town. We said, absolutely, we have a guest room, come on. Well, as we had hoped, her house sold very quickly. And mid-April, she moved in with us and began looking for a job here. And everything in our life was just it was pretty full, wrapping up our school year and then having a new person come to stay in your home. No matter how much you love and adore that person, and of course it's not a burden at all, it just changes your normal everyday rhythm. And so I was no longer comfortable just setting up my tripod and filming everything that I did, cooking meals and cleaning and whatever. Also, things just got busier as we got closer to the end of May and the end of the school year. I had to put some things on the back burner, and YouTube was absolutely at the top of that list. Then in May, Mother's Day weekend actually, our oldest son proposed to his girlfriend. They will both graduate next month, and then the fun begins planning the wedding. We are so excited for them and so thrilled to add another daughter to our family. June and July were just crazy because it was summer. The garden was in full swing. Our littlest kids were out of school for the summer. Our youngest two are in school, and we had been homeschooling our middle 4. However, that was another change that was made. Back in May, I went to some end of the year programs for my youngest two, and I just started thinking how much our oldest son that's still at home would benefit from going to school there for his senior year. This is a small private school in our area that my husband and I actually both graduated from decades ago, and my mother-in-law has been there on the administrative staff for 35 years. It is a precious environment with lovely faculty and staff, small classes, lots of great opportunities, and we presented that option to our third son, our oldest that's still at home, and he jumped on it and is now halfway through his first quarter of his senior year. In fact, we just took him to his first college visit about a week ago, and he absolutely loved it. It is crazy to me that we are doing this again for the third time. You just don't really think about when you have children, at least I didn't, especially having as many as we do, that as quickly as they came into your family, they will be leaving at the same crazy pace. We are so excited for him. We are thoroughly enjoying his last year playing high school football. In fact, we're heading out of town tomorrow for a game if all of this crazy hurricane weather doesn't interfere with that. But anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. June and July were fun and full because it was summer, lots of days swimming, lots of time outside. But here in South Carolina, the weather was insane. It was the hottest June I remember in my entire life. We had weeks and weeks on end with no rain and temperatures in the mid to upper 90s, oftentimes into the hundreds. In fact, when we went to the beach in July, our heat index almost every day that we were there were between 110 and 117 degrees. It was miserable. It was awful. I have been so looking forward to fall and winter. No matter how mild it may be, anything would be better than the summer we just had. I am so grateful for the rain that we are about to get from Hurricane Francine. We are not anywhere near the path of the storm, but we should still get quite a bit of rain this weekend. Something else that happened in the summer, I accepted a new job. It is a part-time position. It is completely remote. I am a business instructor for something called the Author Conservatory. It is a college alternative for students who want to be professional writers and they know that that's their career path. They don't want to go to a 4-year university and rack up student loan debt, knowing that what they want to do is publish their writing. And it has been such a fun experience. I am almost at the end of my first course that I've been teaching, and then the next course will start I believe, in October. The courses are 8 weeks long. Anyways, it is super fun, but that has just added one more thing to my plate. And with more responsibility and more things going on in our lives, the more I have the desire to simplify, to make things more efficient, to streamline our rhythms and our routines. And for me personally, it doesn't stress me out. It makes me excited and energized. However, speaking of energy, my son came home from his senior retreat and gave the majority of the family COVID. So a few weeks ago, we were down and out for just a few days, thankfully. We all had it very mildly. I mean, we're talking like a fever for a couple of hours, feeling pretty crummy for one day, and then we were better. So I'm very, very thankful for that. But for those of you who have had COVID once, twice, I think I have a neighbor who's had it 4 or 5 times. Oftentimes that comes with some brain fog and just a lack of energy. Even though you're feeling better and your symptoms are gone, you still have these lingering effects. And so I have felt that to a degree. But I am super thankful to be into September already. Last month, we really got into a good rhythm with school going back and activities ramping up again. And then our family member who is living with us started her new job. And so we really just started to get into a great routine. And I started feeling the desire to get back on here and interact with you again and share what I love sharing with you. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for coming back to me. A huge thing on my heart and mind lately has been groceries. We are spending upwards of $2,000 a month on groceries. Now, if you break down a family of 8 eating 3 meals a day, pretty much from scratch or at home or bringing it with you from home, that only breaks down to about $2.70 a person per meal. And that doesn't sound like a lot. But when you talk about spending $2,000 a month on food, it just seems astronomical. And that's more than we've ever considered spending on food. So I have been brainstorming this week after just going grocery shopping last week, and I was considering going back to Walmart to get a box of eggs, their 60 count box of eggs, which used to be like pre-COVID, that box was like $5, which honestly is robbery because that's only $1 a dozen for eggs. And I know before COVID, I mean, you could find eggs at Aldi for like 68 cents a dozen, which is crazy. And I know that was not the case everywhere, but here in South Carolina, our grocery prices tend to be very low compared to other places in the country. We have chickens. We have dozens of chickens. But the extreme heat that we had this summer caused them to massively slow down. We got 15 new chicks a couple of months ago. I don't even know how long ago it was. I need to look at the calendar, look back at my email when they were delivered and see when they should start laying. Right now they're pecking around my dilapidated garden, and we're about to move them in with the main flock in our main chicken area. But we are getting an abysmal amount of eggs from the number of chickens that we are currently feeding. So I've been having to purchase them. Well, that inexpensive 60 count box of eggs at Walmart in the height of COVID got up to about $20, which was crazy compared to what we were used to. Then it went way back down again. So to a more reasonable amount, $8 to $10 for the box, even sometimes up to $13, which was a little high compared to what it used to be, but you know, it is what it is. However, a few weeks ago, I bought that box and it was a little over $8. I went back, I don't know, 4 or 5 days ago to get another box because we were completely out of eggs, and everyone gets frustrated when we're completely out of eggs. And I was doing the self-checkout. My total for everything that I'd gotten was about $30, $33. And I realized I forgot to scan my box of eggs. So I grabbed the little handheld scanner, scanned them, and my total jumped up to over $55. Or maybe it was right at 55. I don't know. But I was thinking, oh, I did something wrong. And I look at the screen and that box of eggs is now almost $20. And I waved the helper person from self-checkout over to say, can you please remove this box of golden eggs from my cart because I'm not paying $20 for this box. Of course, that works out to $4 a dozen. And some of you may have been paying that for ages now. I know that's not unreasonable, but for a cheap, inexpensive, conventional, bleach wash grocery store eggs, I'm not paying $4 a dozen when I'm already feeding as many chickens as I am at my house. So if I'm going to buy bottom of the barrel conventional eggs, I am going to find them as cheap as possible. So I went on a mission and I finally found I could buy a 15 dozen box of eggs from Sam's for just under $40. So it worked out to like $2.75 a dozen. And I was very happy with that. And plus, putting 15 dozen eggs in my fridge, which it did fit, means that I'm not going to have to buy or think about buying eggs again for about 2 weeks, because we go through about a dozen eggs a day. And we could go through more than that if we have more, because we can make things like quiche and breakfast casseroles. I could do a little bit of bulk breakfast preparation, knowing that we have plenty of eggs to get us through the next 10 to 14 days. Anyway, all that to say, I intend to do a bit of a series or even just a regular video, probably weekly, sharing how I am going to trim our grocery budget, because I am determined to trim our grocery budget, while at the same time continually making steps in a direction of feeding my family healthy, whole foods, staying away from processed food. I will probably do a video shortly just sharing with you the things that I've come up with so far that are going to help us get there. I will also share what we are eating for breakfasts and lunches and dinners and snacks and desserts, what we are no longer buying, what we are no longer eating. Feeding your family is like a full-time job, and when you're trying to do it on a budget, even a ridiculous budget, takes a lot of thought and a lot of work. So I think it's probably something that a lot of you would benefit from as well. It is also that time of year again. You know, sometimes people get in the mood to spring clean in the spring. But for me, in the fall, when everybody goes back to school and we get back on our rhythm. Now, my 3 teenage girls are still at home with me. We're homeschooling this year and we're having a fantastic time so far. But this time of year gets me in the mood to purge and reorganize and simplify and minimalize. And so I am going space by space in our home and getting rid of things and reorganizing and just really evaluating, do we need this? Do we have multiples of this? Is it even working anymore? We are doing that with everything from our wardrobes to what we have in our pantry. I will do an updated pantry tour soon. It looks a lot different, or significantly different than it has in the past. Something completely off of that topic, but on the lines of simplifying, is I haven't had my hair done since last December. So in 3 months, it will have been a year since anybody but me has touched my hair. I haven't colored it since last December, and no one but me has given me a haircut. I finally broke down. You can see how long it is. And my hair is pretty thin. I do not have a lot of hair. Like, even for hair being this long, when I put it in a ponytail, it's about as big around as my pinky finger. So it's sad. It definitely looks better shorter, and I may get a haircut sometime in the near future. I don't know. But it is really convenient to be able to pull it up. But I broke down a couple of months ago and watched a YouTube video on how to cut your own hair. And so I cut 2 inches off the bottom, which literally took about 3 snips because my hair is so fine and thin. And at the ends is where it is the finest and thinnest. So it was super easy to do. If this is something that you would consider doing, I highly suggest looking it up, because it was really easy and it felt so good to cut 2 inches off my own hair. I didn't have to make an appointment or spend an hour in someone else's chair. But that is just one more thing that has been a little weight off my shoulders. I used to go to the salon every 7 weeks and have my hair trimmed and colored. I would have highlights and lowlights, and guess what? I don't have very much gray. I'm shocked. Like, I keep seeing little glistening pieces here and there in the mirror. And having fine, thin hair and it being naturally blonde, and we're coming out of the summer, is definitely an advantage, because my hair bleaches out in the sun very easily without any sort of products or anything. But I'm taking it 1 month at a time, and so far I am enjoying it, and I am loving the simplicity and having one more thing I can take off of my to-do list. Well, this was a lot of information for an update on one little person, but I'm so glad you're here. I am thrilled to be back. I plan on sharing all the things that I have always shared with you: cleaning videos and days in the life, cooking with me, food storage, household preparedness. The holidays will be here before we know it. So thanks so much for being here. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you next time.